If your desktop computer has started slowing down, freezing randomly, or just feeling outdated, there's a good chance the problem isn't the whole system. It might just be your storage drive. A lot of people think the only solution is to buy a completely new computer. But in reality, one of the most effective upgrades you can do is something surprisingly simple: replacing your hard drive. Whether your current drive is failing, making strange clicking noises, or just struggling to keep up with modern software, swapping it out can completely change how your computer feels. And even if nothing is technically broken, upgrading from a traditional hard drive to a solid-state drive can make your system boot faster, load programs instantly, and feel like a brand new machine. The best part? You don't need to be an expert to do it. Most desktop computers are designed in a way that makes this upgrade fairly straightforward. The connections are standardized, the process is repeatable, and once you understand the basic steps, you can apply them to almost any system. In this guide, I'm going to walk you through the entire process from start to finish. No confusing jargon, no skipped steps, and no assumptions that you already know what you're doing. If you've never opened a computer before, that's perfectly fine. Everyone starts somewhere. The goal here is to help you feel confident, not overwhelmed. We'll go step by step, starting with how to safely open your desktop case and access the internal components without damaging anything. Once you see how it's built inside, the rest of the process becomes much easier than you probably expect. So, if you're ready, we're going to start with the first real hands-on step: getting inside the computer safely. Before you do anything inside your desktop, the first rule is simple. Make sure everything is powered off and unplugged, not just turned off, fully disconnected from the wall. This removes any risk of electrical damage or accidental startup while you're working inside the case. Once that's done, move your computer to a well-lit area where you have enough space to work comfortably. A table or desk is ideal. Try to avoid carpets if possible, since static electricity can build up more easily there. Now, take a look at the back or side of your computer case. Most desktop towers are designed with removable side panels, usually held in place by 2 screws. In many modern cases, those screws are thumb screws, meaning you can loosen them by hand. If not, a simple Phillips screwdriver will do the job. And once the screws are removed, don't force anything. The side panel usually slides backward or lifts off with gentle pressure. If it doesn't move easily, double check for any hidden screws or locking mechanisms. Every case is slightly different, but they all follow a similar idea. Panels are meant to come off without too much effort. After the panel is removed, take a moment to just look inside. You'll see the motherboard, cables, fans, and storage drives. It might look complicated at first, but don't worry. You only need to focus on a few specific parts. At this stage, you're not touching anything yet. This is just about orientation. Find where your hard drive is mounted. In most systems, it will be located in a drive bay near the front or lower section of the case. Some cases are very open and easy to access, while others use metal cages or sliding trays. Either way, the layout is designed so components can be removed and replaced without dismantling the entire system. Once you're comfortable with what you're looking at, we're ready for the next step: disconnecting and removing the old drive safely. Now that you've identified where the storage drive is located, the next step is to carefully disconnect it. This is where you want to slow down a bit and pay attention, because there are only 2 connections, but they matter. Every modern desktop hard drive, or SSD, uses the same basic setup: a SATA power cable and a SATA data cable. The power cable usually comes directly from the power supply unit. It's wider, often black, and sometimes split into multiple connectors along a single line. The data cable is thinner, usually a simple flat cable, and it connects the drive to the motherboard. Before pulling anything out, take a quick mental note, or even a photo with your phone, of how everything is connected. This makes reassembly much easier later. To disconnect the drive, start by gently gripping the connectors, not the cables themselves. Pull the SATA power connector straight out with a steady motion. It should slide out without force. If it feels stuck, don't yank it. Wiggle it slightly and try again. Next, disconnect the SATA data cable from the drive in the same way. These connectors are designed to fit snugly, but they are not meant to be difficult to remove. Once both cables are disconnected, you can focus on removing the drive itself. Most drives are mounted in a metal or plastic tray inside the case. You'll usually see 4 small screws holding the drive in place, 2 on each side. Some systems use toolless clips instead, especially pre-built desktops, but the concept is the same. The drive is secured to prevent movement. Remove the screws carefully and keep them in a safe place. They are small and easy to lose, and you'll need them again for the new drive. Once the screws are out, the drive should slide or lift out of its tray easily. If it doesn't move, double check for hidden fasteners or locking tabs. At this point, your old drive is fully removed and you're ready for the next stage: installing the replacement drive. Now that the old drive is out, it's time to install the replacement. This step is where most beginners rush, but if you take your time here, everything else becomes smooth. Start by looking at the new drive in the mounting tray or bracket you removed earlier. The key thing to remember is orientation. Drives are designed to sit in only one correct direction. and the screw holes will line up only when it's positioned properly. Hold the drive next to the tray and match the side holes first. If they don't align easily, don't force anything, just flip the drive and try again. You should be able to see the screw points line up naturally when it's correct. Once you've confirmed the orientation, place the drive into the tray and start inserting the screws. It helps to loosely start all 4 screws first instead of tightening each one immediately. This gives you a little flexibility to adjust alignment if needed. After all screws are in place, tighten them gently. There's no need to over-tighten. These screws are only meant to hold the drive steady, not clamp it down with force. Now slide the tray back into the computer case. Depending on your system, it may click into place, slide into rails, or lock into a bay. You should feel it sit firmly without wobbling. Next comes the cable reconnection step, and this is where many people realize how simple the system actually is. You only have 2 cables to reconnect, SATA power and SATA data. Each connector has a small notch, meaning it can only go in one direction. Line it up carefully and push it in until it clicks or seats firmly. You don't need force, just steady pressure. Once both cables are connected, take a final look to make sure nothing is loose or hanging awkwardly. A clean connection here prevents problems later during boot or installation. At this stage, the physical installation is complete. Your new drive is now in place, and the system is ready for the next big step: installing the operating system. With the new drive installed and all cables securely connected, the next step is to get the computer to recognize it so we can install an operating system. Because this is a fresh or empty drive, there's nothing on it yet, no Windows, no files, nothing, so the computer won't boot into a usable system until we install Windows from external media. To do this, you'll need a USB flash drive with the Windows installer on it. This is created on another working computer using Microsoft's official media creation tool. Once that USB is ready, plug it into your newly repaired desktop. Now power on the system and watch closely. Every computer has a specific key that lets you access the boot menu. It's often something like F12, F9, ESC, or DEL, depending on the brand. This menu lets you choose which device to start from. As soon as the computer begins to start, press that boot key repeatedly until the boot selection screen appears. Don't wait too long. If you miss it, just restart and try again. Once you see the boot menu, you should see your USB drive listed. It might be labeled as USB storage device, or show the brand name of the flash drive. Select it and press enter. The system will now boot into the Windows installation environment. After a short loading screen, you'll be greeted with the setup interface. From here, the installation process begins, choosing language, region, and keyboard settings, followed by clicking Install Now. You may also be asked for a product key. If you don't have one ready, you can usually skip this step and activate Windows later. At this point, you'll choose the drive where Windows will be installed. Since this is a new drive, it should appear as unallocated space. Select it, confirm, and let Windows handle the partitioning automatically. Now the installation begins. This part takes some time, and the computer may restart several times. That's completely normal. Once it finishes, the system will begin the first-time setup process. Once Windows finishes installing, your computer will restart and take you into the initial setup screen. This is where you'll configure the system so it's ready for everyday use. First, you'll select your region and keyboard layout. These settings are straightforward, and you can usually just confirm the defaults if you're in a standard setup. After that, Windows may ask whether you want to connect to a network. If you have Wi-Fi or Ethernet available, you can connect now, but it's not strictly required for setup to continue. Next comes one of the most important decisions: signing in with a Microsoft account or creating a local account. A Microsoft account syncs settings and files across devices, while a local account keeps everything stored only on your computer. Either option works, but beginners often prefer a local account for simplicity and privacy. After that, you'll be prompted to set up security options, such as a password or PIN. Even though it may feel optional, it's always a good idea to set at least a basic PIN to protect your system. Once setup is complete, Windows will take a few minutes to finalize your desktop environment. When you first arrive at the desktop, things may look a bit incomplete or basic. That's normal. Your drivers and updates are still being configured in the background. The next step is critical: running Windows Update. This ensures your system downloads the latest drivers for your motherboard, graphics, audio, and network components. Without this step, your computer may not perform at its full potential. After updates, it's also a good idea to install essential software like a web browser, antivirus tools, or productivity apps depending on your needs. Many users also clean up unnecessary pre-installed apps at this stage to keep the system running smoothly. Finally, once everything is updated and stable, your upgrade is complete. Your old slow system has now been transformed into a refreshed, responsive machine with a brand new drive at its core. And that's it. You've successfully replaced your hard drive, installed Windows, and brought your desktop back to life.